Hello everyone, welcome to the Resident Evil Village of Shadows post-game playthrough. We are not going to do New Game Plus because it has infinite ammo and you can't just kinda turn it on and off for certain weapons willy-nilly. And it's not like Resident Evil 2 or 3 where certain weapons had infinite ammo. But post-game does have interesting unlocks, and Village of Shadows was not intended to be a fresh playthrough. I actually find it impossible. I know some people have done it, but it seems that the common consensus is that it is not as well thought out as Resident Evil 7's Madhouse. I, like many people, got stuck on the very first major attack, and after that, you dial it back down to hardcore and you go, oh, it's still very difficult on hardcore. So I personally think the best way to play Village is on the normal, maybe easy, because this game is actually quite difficult. Hardcore changes a couple of things, such as enemies just taking an obscene amount of damage and very little scavenging items. In fact, I feel that on hardcore, whenever you kill an enemy, they always drop money and not the items you need. So, regardless, here we go. For those of you who have not beaten RE7, I highly recommend you watch this, which we'll do. It reframes the events of Resident Evil 7 as Ethan's PTSD attack, and they go into it a little bit, so I really appreciate that.
My name? It's Ethan. Ethan Winters. It's been 3 years since everything happened at the Baker house. I was looking for my wife, who disappeared. I got an email from her. She told me to come get her. And of course, that's how I ended up in the middle of nowhere, Louisiana.
You'll also realize that they tried to upscale Resident Evil 7 footage to look way better than it was.
Being held captive in a dark basement. She wasn't thinking right. She attacked me like some kind of wild animal. Later on, I found out that she was infected by a special kind of mold. I looked all over the house trying to find an antidote, a vaccine, anything. The people who lived there were already infected. What was left of them wasn't human. The source of the infection was a bioweapon that looked like a little girl. Her name was Evelyn. I fought the fucked up family and was able to treat Mia's symptoms with a serum. Then Chris Redfield and his soldier buddies showed up and saved the both of us. Is that enough? I really don't want to talk about what happened anymore. It's all over now.
Obviously, Ethan, you stupid idiot, it isn't. For those of you who want more information on it, there's this really long report. We're not going to go through that because it's a very long time, but it's from the point of view of another surviving character from that, so it's pretty cool. Anyway.
Long ago, a young girl went with her mother to pick berries for her father, who was hard at work. But the forest greeted them with a dark, cold silence, the bushes empty. Yet determined to find the berries, the rascal broke free from Mother's grasp and vanished into the trees.
There is a full version of this picture book,
Mother's
and
worried cries
pretty amazing.
Fast as the girl ran on, over vine and under branch, and into the forest deep. Feeling strange eyes upon her, the girl recalled Mother's scary bedtime tales, and her throat became bone dry.
This is also a giant foreshadowing to the events of the entire
game. He greeted
game.
her warmly and bit his own wing. "Come, child, quench your thirst," he said. So she drank the thick, dark blood and smiled with joy. Passing through the graveyard, menacing storm clouds loomed, and the air turned bitingly cold. The girl was shivering in her thin clothes. Then a dark weaver appeared, and with a click of his fingers crafted mist into a beautiful dress. "Come, child, warm yourself," he coaxed. So she clothed herself and smiled with joy. Across waters deep
I
and
believe
ominous
every
she went,
single
hoping a boat she found would carry
main
her
thing
home.
that this little girl
But
encounters
hunger's
is a
grip
boss
tightened
fight.
and her heart grew heavy. Then the Fish King appeared
All
and
of them
offered
more or
one
less
of his
looking
many
exactly how they're
fins.
looking
"Come,
now.
child, eat your fill." So the girl ate and smiled with joy once more. Continuing on, she soon entered the forest's dark heart. Then an iron steed appeared, bearing a
Incidentally,
beautiful
they are
golden
also
gear.
located in the
creature
exact same
said
areas that
nothing as the girl
they're showing right
approached
now.
and snatched what she thought was another gift. The horse grew angry and summoned the other monsters. Terror filled the girl's heart as the wild wind rose around the beasts. Suddenly, a witch appeared, dark yet regal. "Gifts we gave, but more you took," she snarled. "So more in turn is due." In a blink, the girl was trapped inside a mirror. There. She's asleep.
What is with the creepy story? She's only 6 months old.
Woman at the store said it was traditional. A local tale. Besides, Rose doesn't seem to mind.
Because she doesn't understand it. Thank God. We moved here so that she wouldn't have to deal with any of that, remember?
There's nothing wrong with my memory. You're just being paranoid.
It's not... Never mind. I'm sorry. But I'm not paranoid. I'm just cautious.
Then, go cautiously take your daughter to bed. I'll finish dinner.
It's okay, Rose. Your mother doesn't want to remember it. I can't blame her.
Did you say something?
Nothing. I'll put her down.
So, one thing you'll realize after watching that little Resident Evil 7 snippet and then going straight into Resident Evil 8 gameplay, the RE engine has improved leaps and bounds. So, from RE7 was Devil May Cry 5. Devil May Cry 5 was considered one of the best looking games ever made, especially for a 60 frame character action game. And now here we are with a first person survival horror game, and it still looks very incredible. All you need to do is look at this gigantic baby. And there's a couple of reasons why this baby is so gigantic. But first off, we'll talk about that 3 years have passed, and it's 2021, so everyone survived the Rona. The Resident Evil franchise has always been known to kind of move with current year, almost. And they've all settled in to a nice big mansion, from the look of it, in Europe. We'll find a file somewhere that explains kind of what they've been doing in the 3-year gap. But because this is a kind of post-game playthrough, I'm going to pause it right here, and there's all this new shit, but more importantly, this will contain spoilers, because I might randomly talk about things that, you know, people haven't seen yet. Or, you know what, maybe not. Maybe I'll just try to limit it to foreshadowing. But, initially, you are led to believe that Mia and Ethan are suffering PTSD, which is true, they are. Both of them are suffering some form of trauma and stress from the previous game, and they're doing their best to move away, looking after their beautiful girl. But there's something wrong with Rose. As you can see, she's kind of huge, even for a baby. And as you can see before, Ethan he's trying to really move on, but the only way he can move on is to kind of reconcile that this shit happened to him, you know? Whereas Mia seems to kind of want to forget and move on. So both of them are at an impasse, and it's a very realistic thing, you know? So let's go talk to her some more with the baby in hand. See what she's got to say.
Don't get too close to me when I'm cooking, babe.
You can also choose to put the baby away, and that kind of changes how Ethan interacts with certain objects. So, let's look around the house.
Mia makes everything by hand, so this stuff keeps piling up.
So for whatever reason, rather than going to the store, Mia hand makes everything. This is Rose's half birthday, as you can see, 2021.
Her birthday will be here before we know it.
They grow up fast. Let's just enjoy it while we can.
A throwaway line, but she actually is growing up fast. She's huge for a baby. As you can see, don't give her sugar or honey and no mushrooms. Pretty par for the course. She's a baby. Always look around the house. There's really not much else to kind of put together until we go up on the first or second floor, whatever, the top floor. As you can see, there are also some nice nifty callbacks to the original Resident Evil examinations. A good mix of Ethan with context-sensitive dialogue and just kind of reading.
Hey! Keep it down.
Just making sure it's locked.
Ethan, for whatever reason, is told to keep it down, and he yells across the room like a complete asshole.
You're there. It's like I said to your mom. That book's too scary for you.
And Ethan is correct. That book is too scary to read for a child who may not understand, but still.
Your mama and I love this song so much.
A neat little touch that you only kind of really notice on your second playthrough is that the house gives a hint to a puzzle. You're not going to remember it, but when you get to it, you'll go, oh yeah, I ran across this, as well as several other things. But first, we'll go in here. Mia's medication. So, in Resident Evil 7, Mia was cured, but Ethan was not. Ethan is technically still infected, and the events of Resident Evil 7 make that clear, but for whatever reason, the video did not make that clear. But Mia and Ethan both go to checkups. They have to make sure that everything's a-okay, especially with Mia.
Why do I even keep this around? I should get rid of it someday.
Ethan was also horrified by this bobblehead because you shot it in Resident Evil 7 to get power-ups.
Gotta do a deep clean before Rose starts walking around.
Current closes on the Dolby gas incident. The committee completed their investigation on the 18th into the Dolby toxic gas leak in Louisiana 2017. They concluded the deaths were caused by a natural leak of gas that had built up in the Murdoch under the area. A mud rock, sorry. Jack Baker, 57, and his family, who were exposed to the gas, perished. Ethan Winters and his wife were also believed to be in the nearby area, but their current whereabouts are unknown. The entire area has been closed off by officials who believe it will be at least 10 years before the area is habitable again.
Everyone's forgotten about this already.
So, the game covered up, or sorry, the universe covered up the incident, much like every other major biohazard incident. And, yeah, not much else to say other than that.
Almost there, honey.
You also realize that, compared to Resident Evil 7, Ethan is more of a character. He has more of a personality. It's a lot like the change Isaac Clarke went through from Dead Space 1 and 2, where he was kind of a impressionable protagonist where, oh, little child, it's okay. Sort of an impressionable protagonist who, oh, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, child. It's okay. Shh. It's okay. But yes. No, hey, wait, hey, come on. Hey. The baby doesn't wake up, but this is... The baby does get rowdy, which is a nice touch. This is obviously Ethan's hospital stuff, his marriage, pregnancy. Incidentally, the Winters are the only couple in this series that are A, a couple, an actual married couple, and B,
I wish
know
I could
about
stay like
intercourse.
this forever.
No one else does that. So good on you.
Well, hi there, little Rose.
There we go. But yeah, as you can see, he's more of a character. He relates more to the world, interacts more with the world. Much like Isaac Clarke does in Dead Space 2, where he talks. He's more vocal about things. Says fucking shit a lot. And he's also suffering PTSD, so something to think about. February 6, 2021. Me and I had another fight. I accidentally mentioned what happened 3 years ago, and she blew up at me. Finally settled down in our new life in Europe, and can bring Rose up properly. I still feel like a part of me is trapped in that hellhole back in Louisiana. I know Mia doesn't like to talk about it, but can we really just forget everything and pretend it didn't happen? Shouldn't we face what happened there so we can live our lives with Rose without it hanging over our heads? We owe her that much, at least. I know Mia knows this too. She wouldn't have exploded like that at the hospital if she didn't care. And this is Rosemary Winters, birthing. As you can see, she was born huge, but also fungal pathogen tests will be provided by the BSAA.
Rose is fine.
A nice little touch is that Ethan, much like Mia, are freaking out that the Rose could be fucked up.
It's not paranoia if they're really out to get you. Time for bed.
That line basically says that you've discovered
Can't keep your
everything.
mother waiting. She's scary when she's angry.
You do not get this line if you do not carry the baby around everywhere with you. But here we go.
There you go, sweetheart. Don't you worry. I'll be right downstairs. Daddy won't let those weird fairy tale monsters get you.
Another big line of foreshadowing. Which, by the way, Ethan is perhaps one of the best characters in the Resident Evil franchise simply because he's a weirdo who's just put in the wrong place at the wrong time. Well, let's talk to Mia now.
Is she okay?
Sleeping like a baby. That smells good. What's that?
Oh, hands off, mister. It's churba de legume. It's a local recipe.
Wow, you've gone full native, haven't you?
Local wine, too. But if you're gonna keep sulking all evening, maybe you shouldn't have any.
This following
You really
cutscene
have to stop worrying.
is the most gigantic piece of foreshadowing,
It's
and
just
I'll let you guys
finding you
figure
in
it out
Louisiana,
yourselves.
The pregnancy, Chris moving us here, military training, it all happened so fast, you know?
Well, at least we're all together. You, me, Rose. Now, everything's gonna
Seriously, think we can just forget about what happened in Louisiana?
It happened so long ago. I don't understand why you are so...
In the real world
Mia,
scenario, no
get
one
down.
can tank a bullet like that. But remember, Mia's a bioweapon technically.
Mia!
But both Winterses
Mia.
are very
Oh, God.
tanky, especially after the events of the previous game.
Chris? What the hell?
Sorry, Ethan.
No! What? Why?
Chris also does the dumbest illogical move I've ever seen him ever do.
Go move!
While they explain it later on, it's still incredibly stupid
clear.
that he did not tell
Rose?
Ethan what was going
What the hell
on.
are you doing with my daughter?
Package secure, sir. Take him away.
As I'm
said get your hands off her!
pretty
Ethan.
sure
No.
that 90% of the game would have just been prevented if Chris had told Ethan what was happening.
Rose.
And the best part is, later on, people literally talk about this plot point. Capcom also has a strange hard on portraying previous protagonists as antagonists, when everyone literally knows they will never do that. Dante from Devil May Cry 4 being a prime example.
Hey, Doc.
Hello, Mr. Winters. I've got your daughter's results back, and I'd like you to come in to talk about them. How about next Thursday, 4 o'clock?
No problem. We'll be there. That was the doc. She'll see us next week. Hey, now. Think positively, all right? We talked about this.
I know. We hardly talk about anything else. I keep telling you, it's not Rose that I'm worried about.
Well, then what are you worried about? Look, she's gonna be fine. I just know it. What else matters?
We matter, Ethan! You matter! You just
Mia, what are you talking about? Is there something you're not telling me? Come on, talk to me. Damn it. I have to take this.
So that cutscene provides another vital clue as to what's going on. Ethan is worried about Rose, because Rose may be infected via, pregnancy or whatever. Mia is worried that the both of them are still infected, but particularly Ethan, who never got
Jesus.
a cure for the mold, whereas Mia did. All these plot points will converge.
About damn time. What's your status? Is the package safe?
What are you talking about? Where's Chris Redfield? And Rose?
Who is this? This is a secure channel. You are not authorized to use it.
Fuck. What the hell happened here?
Mission objectives: eliminate target, recover body, secure the Winters, move them to Site C, at least 2 transport officers to accompany them. Now, you'll see that it's only secure the baby and Ethan, no mention of Mia, it's only eliminate the target. You're meant to believe that they see Mia as a full functional bioweapon, but not Ethan, who was never vaccinated, and Rose, who, is a hybrid, maybe. Really think about what we've seen so far, because right now it's not too obvious, but there are enough hints as to what's going on. Being a first-person horror game, I think Capcom have become a lot more confident in kind of portraying the world, the personality of the main character you play as through a lot more different ways. This is meant to be very reminiscent to the Resident Evil 4 opening, and you'll notice that as you play through this game, and even with how it's laid out, how the game kind of flows, that Resident Evil 4 is this game's primary inspiration. Much like how Remake 1 was Resident Evil 7's primary inspiration. And as we go on, I'll point out all the little stuff that they put in that you go, oh yeah. So as you can see, there are dead crows. It looks like Leon came through here and shot them all for money. They're also hilariously loud, making the weird bloodborne crow noises, but that's fine. Something's going on in this strange little village. A nice little doghouse. Much like the previous Resident Evil, you're pretty much free to explore. But this takes a page from very different Resident Evil games. Remember that in Resident Evil 4 that you had quite a lot of room to kind of explore and freely look at random stuff. This is very much the same. Right down to going into a house and kind of taking in the sights before being horribly, horribly attacked. This very ominous picture, again, reminiscent of seeing Sadler and Menendez, the big chief, the big cheese, as it were. And I'm pretty sure this is meant to be some sort of cheeky reference to Finding Louise Sarah. Not that statue, that weird marking. You pay close attention there, only 2 of his fingers are covered in blood.
What did all this?
And remember the line about military training and his paranoia about reading survival and all this stuff, because it adds a little bit of flair to what Ethan and how he handles himself.
Where the hell am I?
This is perhaps one of the most beautiful, yet dreary, yet it just looks incredible. If you did not know this was a Resident Evil game, you could have sworn this was Castlevania. Look how gorgeous that is. But as you know, because it's a direct reference to Resident Evil 4, that is meant to be Castle Salazar and the village leading up to it. There's quite a lot to explore here, but unfortunately,
maybe they're out?
Because we are limited, but we can block for whatever reason. It's meant to fool you into thinking you're going to be attacked, but in reality, you never will be. Not until you pick up a weapon. But there's quite a bit to explore, and I do recommend you explore unless you're going through a speed run of some sort. So there's quite a lot of setup. Ethan's aware that something's going on, though he, for whatever reason, assumes everyone's just out. Like an idiot. At this point you also have a map, much like Resident Evil 4's. It's a fucking hilariously big map, almost in style of Resident Evil 4, but it carries the Resident Evil 2 remake and onwards amazing map system of unexplored, currently searching, and search completed. It is perhaps Resident Evil's greatest quality of life I have ever seen. And not enough people talk about how incredible it is. You'll notice that you'll come across these little locks. They don't have any messages, they don't say it's locked, or you can't even interact with them. You're meant to destroy these locks, so, you know. It's not something I figured out until way later, and I felt like such a fool. As you walk around this deserted, destroyed village, pay attention to the music and the ambient sound effects. It is incredible. And more importantly, it reminds me of in Resident Evil 4 when you walk through the village, and specifically at night where there's not much going on, you're not too sure what's happening, but this music is playing. Something very similar to it. You can see we've done all we can. It's time to move forward.
What happened?
This little village is a great mix of gothic horror, backward ass village, but there's technology. Yet it's surrounded by medieval architecture. It's really a nice mix between the best of both worlds, really. How do you make a survival horror game with modern, you know, trappings? You get that really nice gothic horror feel, that medieval feel. Locked you to missing homeowner once again. And as you can see, there is the difference between these two different types of locks. As you can see,
shit.
Whenever Ethan picks up a new weapon or reloads, or how he even handles his weapons, it feels more military, very more professional, more precise. And I really like that. And as you can see, we have the good old Resident Evil 4 inventory system. The attaché case, it's even a case. However, wait, hang on, it's even got this. It's awesome. I really hope that Capcom realizes this is their best inventory system to date. However, there are no storage boxes. Ethan must carry everything with him, and I think that's a very terrible thing. And we'll get into that in a bit.
Just run out of
when
the
we get
house?
to the problems that this inventory system faces without a storage box. But much like Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 4 had this problem, but Resident Evil 4 is a very different game. And I think while it's nice that Resident Evil Village takes a lot of inspiration from it, they didn't learn from why Resident Evil 4 works the way it does, and we'll get to that soon.
No! Friendly.
Who are you? Who sent you?
Nobody. There was an accident down on the road and... What's going on?
If you didn't believe Village looked incredible, look at his face anime, and
Who is? What the hell was that?
soon,
You have a gun?
What?
very soon.
Please tell me you have a gun.
No, why would I?
Also, that line makes no sense. Ethan is paranoid. He does all this military training, but he doesn't have a gun on him. Again, awesome the way Ethan handles himself with a new weapon.
Hey, are you listening? Hey! Dead body?
No, Ethan has been dragged into
There's
some
more.
sort of feeding ground.